even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Hello my darlings, it's Dean. Welcome back to another video. I am getting ready to go to H&M to find a few pieces for my Portugal vacation, and I realized that I did not film the how to fly international tips video that I promised you. So we're gonna do a get ready with me / international tips. And I had my book here, but fooling with Maverick, I had a whole list. Sorry, I have clothes on the bed. Okay, so I have a whole list that I'm gonna go through so I will not miss anything. So let's get started. So I'm going to be using the La Roche-Posay Double Repair Face Moisturizer. I'm gonna leave a link to everything that I use in the description box. So I got this one because it has a 30 SPF, because I was using my Urea Moisturizer, which I need to go to Sephora while I'm at H&M or at the mall. This is done, but I used this from Inky List, and then I was using the Age Shield from Neutrogena over it. But what I noticed is that if I'm in a bind, I just put this on and I forget to use my my sun protection, so my sunscreen rather. And so I was like, okay, for those days when I'm able to like sit down and do my makeup, that's fine, but for those days when I'm just running around, I need something else. So let's start off with this, and then we'll get into tip number 1. So tips for flying international, my list is right here. So I'm gonna be looking over there to make sure I don't miss anything. And then this wig, forgive me guys, for some reason, this is like one of my favorite wigs. They moved the clips from the sides to right here, so there's a bunch of slippage going on. So there's gonna be some slippage, but I'll pull it down for right now. All right. The first thing that you want to do if you're flying internationally, if you're flying within the next 6 months, is get your passport. Right from COVID, or still from COVID, Homeland Security, that's who does the passports, right? Or immigration, one of them. Excuse me. And I'm just putting some powder on my brows because I live in Florida and it's humid. They're still backlogged from COVID, and so it's taking people quite a long time to get their passports. So if you know if you're traveling for the holidays, honey, you need to do an expedited, because I think it's gonna take like 10 weeks, even for expedited. But if you know that you're traveling for next summer, or you have an expectation to travel next summer, get your passport now. Same is the visas, right? We were going to, or one of my girlfriends from the Portugal trip, of course I'm going with Fem City, I don't know if I told you that, the same trip that we did last year in Italy, we're doing this year in Portugal, and next year I think is going to be south of France. She's actually going to Marrakesh beforehand, and I've never been to Marrakesh. I've never been to Africa, but it's on the list. And the first question I had was, is there a visa? There is not, but there are some current countries that do require a visa, and do require vaccinations. And so you want to get that done ahead of time. It's not like you're just going to England, or if you're going to Italy or somewhere. If you're going to Asia, if you're going to Africa, if you're going to Australia, just a different atmosphere, a different place, then you want to make sure that you have your immunization again and your visas in tow. Okay, so that's number 1. Passports and visas, get that together. I'm using the Tanya Crooks, and I'm going to leave a link to this. This is the Artisan Halos. This is actually my second one. I re-upped on it. I have not used my Anastasia. I ran out, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get another one of these because I'm trying to stay out of Sephora. I'm trying to be good, y'all. I'm trying to prepare for this trip. So I just went on Amazon and got this one again. So this has been good for the Miami heat, y'all. For the South Florida heat. It has worked. It has been sustained. Let me just do this brow, and then we'll get into number 2. Oh Lord, they're not matching at all. Do they need to match? I'm just going to H&M. Why am I putting on makeup to go to H&M? Because this is South Florida. We dress up to go everywhere. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to do a full face. I'm just going to do like a light something or another. Okay. So tip number 1, passport and visas early. Points. So one of the flexes that I realized last year in going to Italy is I think I was the only one that paid cash for my tickets. And one of the things that I love about the group of women that I'm surrounding myself with is that we are very open about money and talking about money. And so everybody was talking about how many points it took to get from Philly and how many points it took to get from here and so on and so forth. I think I'm going to do a matte. I was going to do the Kim K Heat palette or So Fire palette, but I keep going to this Baked Brown, the Dose of Colors. It's like used up. Yeah, I think I was the only one that paid with like cash money. Everybody used their points. And I do have friends that are point fanatics, but even more so, just looking at the amount of money that you can save with stuff that you're already buying. Oh, I was up and on it the minute I landed stateside. And so what I mean by traveling with points, if you have a card, and let me say this again, if you have a problem with credit and utilizing credit wisely, listen, I've been there. Back in the day, don't give me a 10,000 credit limit. Listen, don't give me a $500 credit limit, okay? Can we be truthful? If that's you, don't do this, okay? This is not for you. This is for those people who have a healthy relationship with credit, okay? I'm going to say that right off the bat. Let me say it again. If you do not have a healthy relationship with credit and you're still learning how to use credit wisely, this is not for you, okay? I've said it. So what I have done is gotten a point. I've gotten 2 points cards, and I only use it for one I use for groceries, for gas, gas. I'm feeling like there's something else, something that I pay cash anyway. Groceries, gas. I'm forgetting one, but groceries and gas was huge. And so I made sure to use not only a card that, you know, gives you points for those, but they give you triple points and double points and there's certain days, quadruple points. Listen, I was a points maven for a whole year, to the point where let me stop what I'm doing to tell you. My ticket to Portugal was $5 one way and $160 coming back. Okay, so I used 1 points card for going, and I'm going Delta one way, and I'm coming back on TAP Portugal, the Portugal Airlines, all through points. I think up to total was like, because you know I bought baggage. I'm getting baggage. I think in total everything came up to $200 and something because I used points. So let me say again what I did. I used 1 card just for groceries, for gas, and I want to say something else, like my Target stuff, like stuff that I get for like back to school. That was all on that card. Then I use another card for business expenses. So every time I go to Goodwill or wherever I'm going where I can use my card, I will use that and get points on another card. So I used 1 card and one card's points, and I'm flying to Portugal, and another card's points to fly back. Does that make sense? So I say all that to say, find a card, and I'm going to use, this is not something that like I'm proficient in. It's something that I learned or have been learning. I'm going to leave a link to Ask Sebi, the points guy, and there's another person that I watch. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for not remembering his name, but these are like the points gurus that I literally study on YouTube on how to get the best cards, the best points, the best miles for your money. So everything is used, everything I pay, as far as flights and everything is points. So get your points together. If you know you're going to be flying next year, you're getting ready for a big trip, see if you can get a card that's going to maximize your points. But again, if you are not there and like you just don't feel comfortable with credit, I get it. Listen. I'm telling you, there was one point in time, don't listen. That's a whole other conversation. We're going to talk about that. My 20s, thank the Lord for his grace and his mercy. All right, so next up, I'm going to, let me put some liner on. So I just used the Baked Browns palette. I'm sorry, I didn't walk you through it. And I just used a combination of these 4. This is like the best matte palette ever. The only one that I think would be comparable, and I don't have it yet, would be the Makeup by Mario matte palette, which I'm praying they have at Sephora. I'm gonna go look today. Let me do liner really quickly, and then we'll get to my next point. So my next point, because I want to talk while I'm putting on my makeup. Stick with, oh Lord, Sorry. Stick with one airline or one air group. Okay. So status, and this is kind of along the lines of the points conversation, is that when you stick with one airline and you rack up miles with that airline, that's how the flex, like when you see people on the webs, you know, flying first class, flying business class, a lot of times they've booked coach and have gotten the upgrade. I'm telling you, that's how the flex is. These women that I roll with are frugal like me, but they about their business. And so they will book a coach, a book in coach. And then when they get to the gate, if there are openings, now that's the chance, right? The flight may be full. There may not be any upgrades, but excuse me. If you are loyal to one airline, it's a better chance that you will get that upgrade, and sometimes free. Like when I came back from Maryland, my flight up there, I was coach, but my flight back, they bumped me up to business class. Listen, it's all good, and I'm hoping, because I'm flying coach to Portugal, I'm flying coach back, and so listen, Delta, let me get that let me get that business class seat. I don't mind flying coach. For me, you get there how you get there, but it's, listen, ain't nothing like lying back and flying. That's the most comfortable thing. Because if you think about it this way, let me pull this wig down. The thing about traveling internationally is that jet lag will kick your butt. So any chance that you can get to fight jet lag, like you literally will lose a day. And so if you're there for 5 days, but you're losing a day because you're so jet lagged that you can't do anything, listen, just pay for the upgrade. Just pay for the upgrade, because you're already paying thousands of dollars for this trip. So that, I digress. So find an airline and stick with it. I actually have a friend who, one of my close friends, she actually stayed loyal to Southwest, and her daughter, they would always travel places, and she gave, what is Southwest? I'm using the new telescopic lift, by the way, and this is rivaling my YSL. Because you know, any airline that you fly will give you like a membership number, right? You do the login and all that stuff. So they did theirs on Southwest. And do you know that this girl has the baby? Well, she's not a baby now. But do you know that she actually has points and like free flights? Because every time my girlfriend flew, she'd put in her rapid number. So both of them were just flying free. And so, listen, I'm doing that for Riley too. Every time Riley flies with me, she gets points, because that's less than. So for her, you know what? I have something in my eye. Hold on, because it's not gonna let me be great. Hold on. Where was I? Oh, Riley has points. Let me say that, because we have stayed loyal to one airline, and so whenever she flies, we log into her. Whenever I buy her ticket, I put in her little number. I put in my husband's number. Listen, Joyce got a number too. Everybody got a number. Of course, I fly more than them for work and for, you know, just seeing my girlfriends and stuff and traveling. But everybody got points. So, And then another thing, when you stay loyal with certain airlines and even with certain credit cards, you'll get extra baggage. Like one of my checked bags is free, and I just have to pay for the other one. So I get priority boarding, I was about to say priority shipping. Listen to me in Poshmark. I get priority boarding and one free luggage. Well, not free, complimentary luggage wherever I go. And that's not just priority boarding, priority through the gate and priority boarding. And especially if I'm upgraded to business. So I'm praying for an upgrade for this international flight. Again, I'm just grateful and thankful for the flight and traveling mercies. But let me tell you something. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Yes. So, so that's it. So booking the flight. Oh gosh, I haven't really talked about that. Booking the flight. When you book internationally, this is something that I know they don't talk about. So these airlines, if you're doing a layover, which most, you know, you can fly straight, and I'm using my Kabuki brush from Amazon. I'm going to leave a link. A few of you have gotten this already. So one of the things they don't tell you when you're booking on, when you're booking online, right? They have you going through Philly, through Atlanta, through Chicago, through Houston, and they give you these 1 hour layovers. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. I speak from experience traveling out of South Florida where there's always a rain delay. If you are traveling through Florida between the hours of 12 and 2, guess what you're gonna get? A rain delay, okay? So I always look for, if I'm not going nonstop, the minimum layover that I will do is 2 hours. That gives a 2 hour grace period from leaving here, and 2 hour grace period that when we get there, that there's gonna be a gate open, or they're not gonna have to keep us in the sky because of a storm or anything like that. And some of these airports are huge. Atlanta is huge. I know people talk about Miami, but Atlanta is a whole other vibe. And if you do, second part of that, part 2, is that if you do a layover in Europe, there are times, I'm trying to think, I just went off. Madrid. We landed in Madrid. I had to go through customs in Madrid. It's wherever you land, you got to go through customs. So I had to go through customs, had to go through security, had to take a train to another terminal. Did we have to recheck bags? No. We had to go through security. The whole process from landing and getting to my next gate was about an hour and a half. Thank God I booked a 4 hour layover. I don't mind the layovers because, and I didn't put it on here, but listen, I will pay for a lounge, okay? When I'm traveling by myself. When I'm traveling, I see comfort when I'm traveling by myself. So it doesn't bother me because I'll pay for a lounge, okay? If I'm not business class, I'm paying for a lounge. And so I gave myself like a 4 hour layover because, again, you're going to go through customs. If you're going overseas, going through customs, you don't know how big the airport is. You're going to go through security. If you're traveling through the holidays, oh, that's a whole other flex. But book yourself at least a 2 to 3 hour layover. Do not play with these 30-minute layovers. Don't do it. Don't do it. You will miss your flight every time. And I think they do that because they know that you're going to miss your flight, to be fair. Because they're going to make their money anyway. I said what I said. So yes, so that's it. What else? Oh, sticking with one airline or air group. Let me go back to that. There are 3 different air groups. There are 2 that I am proficient in. One World, which is American Airlines, British Airways, Star Alliance, which is Delta and Virgin, and then there's another one, but I don't fly any of those airlines. And so if you have points with American, you can fly British Airways, and if you have points with Delta, you can fly Virgin Atlantic. I'm only saying that because I go to England, and so those are the only 2 that I'm really concerned with. So I just wanted to mention that too. All right, so I think that's it. Is there anything else that comes to mind? I had to make a list because, you know, your girl will get talking and forget. But I think the biggest thing for me, and I'm using the Dose of Colors, I think XOXO lip liner. I was trying to look for a color the other day to tell somebody because somebody asked me about it. I'll leave a link to it because I don't know what color it is. But it's really, really soft. The biggest thing is the points. I think that I'm going with Chai Genius from Maybelline. That's the biggest thing. When you see people doing all this traveling, a lot of times they're not spending their own money, they're using points. And so you save your hard-earned money trying to keep up, and these people ain't spending a dime. I'm telling you, I was shooketh. I was just like, what? You did what on what? And they're like, yeah, just use your points. Just use the card for business purposes or use it for groceries or gas, things that you're gonna buy anyway. And this is how I manage it, okay? Because again, I know my history with credit. So I will go to Trader Joe's, Publix, or whatever, buy the groceries. As soon as my feet hit the door, I will go to the computer and pay it, like immediately. Don't let it stay a day or 2 days. Nope. I go grocery shopping, I come home, I pay the bill. That way, like, I'm accountable to myself. I don't trust myself. No. I know me. Know thyself. All right, so I'm gonna finish off this look. I didn't even put on any blush or anything. I'm up here chit-chatting. Do I even want blush? I'm just gonna use excess because I'm just gonna try on clothes. I'm not doing anything extra. I'm gonna put on a little bit of gloss But I kind of like this matte look, but I just want to juice it up a little bit. So I will leave a link to this gloss. It's one of my favorites from Maybelline. It's a good brown girl nude. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this Get Ready With Me. I hope that these tips help you. There's a lot, again, that I did not know, and so as I get the tea, I'm going to share it with you. So please give me a thumbs up. Let me know if this was a blessing to you. And if you're going overseas, please let me know where you're going. I would love to go, and send me pictures, because everywhere, wherever I go, I take you guys. You guys need to take me with you, especially if you're buying items from my lives and you're wearing them on vacation. I want to see what you look like overseas. All right, love you guys so much. Bye.
Go, go.